Good morning, everyone. Before we start today's session, please feel free to do event check-in. This will give you access to additional resources and information about events that we are running on Reactor, which are around similar topics to today's session. I will share the event check-in link with the event ID in the Q&A section shortly. Thank you all once again for joining us today. My name is Rashmita and I'm the event planner for Microsoft Reactor Bengaluru, India. The session will run over the next 60 minutes including Q&A. The session is being recorded and will be uploaded to our Reactor YouTube channel. I will share the link to our YouTube channel in the chat section soon. Also, please keep your mics muted during the session. Quick word on our code of conduct. We display this at all Microsoft Reactor events that we run, and it's just a reminder to be aware of others. Key thing to take out here is to be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, being kind and considerate in the way you engage. The chat will be open throughout, and we do encourage you all to participate. I would now like to welcome Swami, our speaker for today's session. He is an aspirant software architect and currently works at Applied Information Sciences. He loves to learn about new technologies, but for now, I will hand over to Swami to begin the session. Over to you, Swami.
Hey, thanks, Rashmita. Uh, Let me share my screen. Is the recording started? Because I saw a different message which I didn't see. It was mentioning that you are the only one who are recording, or some kind of different message I've seen.
Yes, Swami, it started recording. The session is being recorded right now.
Oh, okay, okay. Because I saw a different message. I'm sorry for that.
No,
So
no worries,
little
no
little
worries.
confused. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'll take quick 2 minutes time. Not much. Less than 30 seconds. I'll take. See, this is the playlist what Rashmita was mentioning. So you can go and you see this 7 videos are there. Today is the eighth session. In 1 or 2 days, you will see 8 videos here. And also this URL also Rashmita will give. I also pasted it. Here you can go and see all the previous sessions, whichever is done, and all the other sessions which are going to come will be here, and more to come. It's just we published only till Jan, and again it will come more to come. Okay, so what did we do? I mean, in the previous session, I was little sick. I was not feeling well, so I missed a couple of things. So I apologize for that. So what are we going to do today? It's purely I just clubbed both and made it into 5 mini projects. Um, okay, I think we'll go and hit because we have a hard stop. So we'll see how much we'll be able to hit. This one we did it, and we will redo from mini project 2, 3, and 4. I have 5, but I want to park it so that in the next session when we are discussing about web apps, deployment slot, web jobs, and application insights, I would like to present it because I have the code. I don't want to rush and present it because let's take time, understand the fundamentals, and let's do that way instead of doing something and just for the sake of completion of my session. I don't want to do it. I want to ensure that we all are learning something. Okay. So that being said, this one we have thoroughly tested. This is a mini project too. So just for the people who are joining, what did we do? I'll just quickly go over that. I have created all these Azure functions and kept it aside. We are going to recreate it. There's an empty slate. We are going to do that everything. But I just wanted to quickly run through you what did we do in the project one. And in the mini project one, it was uh, uh, it was array operations. It was pretty simple one where we send an information to the array and it publish it to the blob storage. So that was a deal there. So we went and we saw that each function will have one trigger and one or more inputs and one or more outputs. Okay, so let's see that real quick. And we have very less time today because we need to do hard stop. It's a year end. everyone will have their own. Just saying why it's troubling me. Did I disable this? Just give me a moment. No, it's enabled. Just let's take 1 minute time to see. Okay, so if we come here, we want to test it from here. I do a run. So it executes this. Okay, see that we got the output. So another thing is Azure Blob Storage. You can go to this Azure Blob Storage. Just give me a minute. My younger one is here, so you might hear some noise. So we can check that one. We can get into this Azure storage, and that was blob. Oh, sorry, that was table. Array table operations. So this is the one uh, which we used it to write a record for today's heat. Whatever we heated just now, it will write an entry into that. And also we did a deep dive into file shares. So all the projects, whatever Azure functions we create, we saw that will be stored in this file share. And we went into this where we saw that how all the operations and all the files, everything will get stored here. That's one thing. And containers is the one where we did some experiment on blobs, and queues also we used it for some of the Azure functions. We are going to do step by step each and every one. So just want to quickly run through you what did we do in the previous session. Then we'll start with the mini project 2 and mini project 3. And at least even if you're hitting partial mini project 3, there's an hard stop at 10 for today because year ends, some other meetings are there. So we'll stop. Let's go ahead and do a real quick mini project 3. So for that we need two things. First thing is we need a storage account. So it will be purely hands-on all my sessions. So it is easy to do for reactor. Okay, so storage account for Azure functions and Azure functions. Today is 15th December. I'm storing it and I want the local redundant. Let's create this storage account. Okay, so it is creating this. Also, we have seen a couple of times when it is deploying, we can go ahead and see the operation details, how many seconds each and every operation is being taken. So we can see that it's spinning up. While it is spinning up, I just want to quickly go and create the queue. Use a same name or a similar name. It's wasting our time. I don't want to use that. And we'll create a service bus queue. Need service bus namespace and service bus queue. So we are creating the service bus namespace. 15th December. That's the name I'm taking it. So I want to place it in East US because all the resources I'll place it in East US so that it will be easy for me to test it or Okay, I'm keeping everything in its defaults before we start. Let us let it create it. It is submitting the deployment. What we can do is I'll start from this tab. I think the storage account is here. So I open this storage account and keep it in a separate tab so that it will be easy for us to switch between the tabs instead of using the same tab. We see we don't have any tables, we don't have any queues, we don't have any file shares, and we don't have any containers. We have created it afresh just now. Okay, so that deployments are going on, and you can come back and go to that particular deployment and click on the deployment details. You see that it is creating, these are the providers. Microsoft Storage is a provider, and this is the resource storage accounts and blob and file service. You can get into the option details to find. It took 34 seconds and it took 38 seconds, and the file service took around 39 seconds. Okay, so we can get into the details of each and every deployment. We see that we have a service bus, we have a storage account. So what I will do is I will open this service bus in a separate tab so that it will be easy for us when we are doing the experiment. We have one tab exclusively for the storage account so that we can use the storage explorer also wherever we need that. Let's use the storage explorer. I open that in a separate tab so that it will be easy for us to switch between these things. This is the service bus. This is the service bus namespace. I just create one queue. I call it as a SBQ. Okay, SBQ for messages. Okay, that's available. I just created. That's it. These are the prerequisites, guys, before we proceed any further. So we have created all these things, and we have a queue. We can get into this queue. Um, SBQ for messages. We don't have any messages here, and we have created the storage account, and everything is here. And here we'll especially we'll focus on the file share. For rest of the things, we'll use this tab. So we have a separation. What we are going to use, everything is there. Okay, chalo, let's start with mini project 2. So let's go ahead and copy the name, mini project 2. So what are we going to do in this mini project? So we are covering multiple concepts in this one, mini project 2. So the mini project 2 is we are creating 3 different Azure functions. Okay, we'll create an function app, and inside that function app we'll create 3 different Azure functions. So for today also we'll use Node.js, and then from next session onwards, that will be on 12th Jan, if I'm not wrong. From that time onwards, it will be everything in C sharp. Okay, for these things, I just wanted to show the power. So I'm using Node.js. That does not mean that C sharp doesn't have any power, but I just created the sample. So I'm using the same sample instead of recreating it. Okay, the Blazor WASM one is purely the C sharp. This one, the Blazor WASM and the API, everything is in C sharp. So just wait till mini project 4. From 5 onwards, it will be C sharp. Okay, that we will come back in 12th. So here we will have 3 Azure functions. One will be HTTP triggered, one will be service bus triggered, one will be blob triggered. And we will be having the service bus, blob, and Azure table storage as an output binding. So without any delay, let's start creating this. So I've given everything in the starter files, folks. So this is a mini project to see how quickly we'll be able to start and finish this one. So write the mini project 2. I'll just go ahead and create mini project 2, the function app. Okay, I'm calling it as a mini project 2. I'm calling it as 2.2 just to save the time. Node.js. and it is East US. Okay, the hosting plan we will take as serverless, and the storage account which we have already created 15th December, and I will go ahead and push all the monitoring into the application insights we have already created so that we can see the how the application is performing. So we'll use that, and I'll go ahead and create this one. So okay, we were creating this. I don't know whether it has created it not. Let me check that. Oh, I think it is. I think still it is uh, creating the deployment. I'm really not sure whether it is going to create it or not. So better, I think, let's go ahead and create a new one. It might fail, or I don't know. So better I'll create it, because exactly at the same time I lost the internet connection. Okay, so let me come back here. I'm calling it as Funk Mini Project 15th December. Okay, mini project 2. The function app is Node.js, LSD, and this is East US. This is East US. Hosting is the serverless. So that's a pure serverless, because we are not backing it up with the fixed plan. So it's a pure serverless, right? So I think let me copy this so it'll be easy for me to create another function. So let me create it, because exactly when it was initializing the deployment, that's when it failed. So I really doubt whether it has succeeded or not. So let's see that. Uh, okay, now it has submitted its deployment. We can go back to that Microsoft Reactor. I'm sure it didn't create. Good that we started creating new one. So we'll create another project also, which we needed to showcase mini project 2 and mini project 3. So I'll make it like mini project 3 is this, and I use Node.js as and East US. And here the hosting plan is, we will change the hosting plan, because in this we want to use the triggered function. So with triggered function, we will not be able to use the consumption plan. So it has to be backed up by the non-consumption plan. So I'm using the app service plan. So I already created a shared one. So that should be good enough for that. That's the only catch. So if you want to write any triggered function, you need to create an app service plan. I mean, the consumption, any non-consumption plan, the serverless or consumption or serverless plan will not work. So please ensure that if you are using a uh, function which has to be triggered by timer, please ensure that you're creating a separate function. You're not mixing up with the regular one. So that will create a problem. So you'll not be able to work with that. Okay, that being said, I think we should have all our resources by this time. Yes, we do have. I need some extra space. I'll just create this extra space. I will close this. So we have this mini project, and it has created this workspace. Everything is good. Let's start with this. So first thing what we will do is, the concept is we will create a function, and we'll use a HTTP trigger to write some message in the service bus queue. Okay, so here the trigger is HTTP trigger. The output binding is service bus queue. So when you put some when you drop a message or hit this triggered Azure function, that will drop a message in the service bus queue. And the extension of is what happens when someone drops a message. So you have to read it. So we'll create another Azure function which will be service bus trigger, and it reads the message from the service bus, creates a blob storage. And then the third one is, it reads when someone drops a message in the blob, it reads the blob and it drops to the table storage. We are covering a wide variety of resources here, or the services, and also the function chaining. And we are seeing multiple types of triggers also. Let's work on this one. write to service bus queue. Let me come to this one while this is getting baked. Let's go ahead and create the Azure function. Hope it's pretty fast. I know 150. It's a pretty good speed, but still I'm scared. Okay, HTTP triggered, and you will write to service bus queue. That's name of the function, write to service bus queue, and that's a HTTP triggered one. And again, we'll go with other items. So we'll see that it has come, and we know this integration piece. First, let's tackle the integration piece. So you have entire code here. You don't need to worry on this one. You have the function, what it should be. Also, you have the source code. So just let's go and see that. So the output will be to that service bus queue where it is there. So here is one trigger. We are right now we are not having any inputs. We'll use it in the future session, but we'll focus on the output. So the output is anyone sends any input, we have to send it to the service bus queue. So select this binding, select this Azure service bus queue. Okay, type is service bus queue. This is a parameter name, and we don't have the connection. That's true. Just click on a new connection, and that itself will go and recognize this everything, and it creates a service bus connection to that service bus. And what is a queue name? So queue name is, we already created it. The queue name is SBQ for messages. So please go grab that queue name and drop it here, because it will be easy for us instead of taking whatever it is doing. Ah. What is this? Why did it? What did I do? Did it create it or not? Let's see that. It's not a big deal. We will fix it. Okay, it didn't write. That's fine. It's not a big thing. So we'll again go back, select the service bus queue. Oh God. Select the service bus queue, and the service bus connection is this. Let's select that service bus connection, and that's the message. We already have this over here. Let me copy this and paste it this output queue. Okay, let's ensure that we don't have any special character or any spaces, and just click on OK. So once you click on OK, it is updating the bindings. You see that now the bindings is there. Now let's come back to the code and test block. And here in the code and test block, let's sometimes it does this. You need to do a refresh. Because what is happening is multiple dialogues were disturbing us. So that's the problem. Okay, cool. So now let's come back and first verify whether the function JSON is matching. So it's of 26 lines, and it has got bindings, input binding. It has got 26 lines, and it has got two input bindings. One input binding and two output bindings. This is out message, and you have the connection, and the queue name is SBQ for messages, and SBQ for messages, but we did it in a different fashion. But everything is looks like everything is good. Let's come back to that index.json. Sorry, index.js, and index.js. I just had a code. You can copy paste that and just do a save, and you can just do a save, and entire thing, the code for all these things is given in the Azure documentation. Okay, Azure function triggers and bindings. So this is the documentation. If you go this, Go to this one in the triggers and in the references. If you go and click on this triggers and bindings, come to that service bus queue, and ours is an output binding. So if you click on that output binding, they have given for all the languages, we have chosen this JavaScript, and they are telling that it is the same thing, same block you will see here or in the Azure function also. You have connection name, queue name, direction, and type. So you have same 5 parameters. And here is the context. So context.bindings.output SBQ, that's a queue name dot messages. We are doing the same thing. Let me switch back to the code. See that here, context.binding output SB message. Okay, output SBQ. We did it like this, and the message is the request.body. Whatever the HTTP request body we get it, we are dropping that context done. So you need in a different language, you can go and check the C sharp. It gives that, and other languages also, Python or PowerShell, Java, C sharp script that .csx. Okay, you can have everything. So it's just I used this Microsoft function heavily, and what we will do is we'll do a simple test here itself, and I'm using the post method and uh, employee ID E101. I'm sending this. I just click on run. It sends this input to this Azure function. We'll test it with the Postman also, and we got success. So we can quickly come back to the queue and refresh. You see this, there is one active message, and you can also come to no, here itself. Okay, so the next thing what we will do is we will go and close this, grab this entire function URL, and come back to the Postman. Let's come back to the Postman and make it a post. And let's go and use a body raw application by JSON. I have some big body. Let me send this entire body. I mean, you can send any valid object. Okay, I'm sending this. So, okay, it is expecting name as a top parameter. I'll send a name. No name. Okay, so I'll send this. It has been successfully executed. So now if we come back and verify that, there will be 3 messages. One for the failure also. All 3 messages are sitting here in this one. Okay, that's the first thing. So in our experimentation or in our mini project, first what we do is we created a timer Azure function, and once it gets an HTTP body, in the HTTP request, it gets a body. That body we are sending it to the service bus queue. That is in a output binding. Now what we will do is we'll create an other Azure function that will be service bus triggered Azure function, and this output binding is blob storage. That means any message you receive here, it will be routed to the blob storage. So for the benefit, what I will do is I will just go ahead and start uh, viewing the things in application insights. So application map, see that the magic will happen over the next 30 minutes. If it has already started, it started. It's good that. So this is one of the good thing, and you can see this live metrics. I'll show in 25 minutes from now. I'll show you the live metrics, how beautiful it will be once we do the Azure timer trigger function. Once we do that, I'll show you. But at this point of time, you can see that we are having that Azure functions. We made 3 calls, and all the 3 calls, there are no 500 errors, even though it was an 400 message we sent it, but this is hitting that. Now another block will come where we will have an same function. One of the function from this function app is dropping a message in the service bus queue. There is another function in the same app function it reads the message. So there will be an arrow key from the message buzz back to this function. Let's do that. So that is a very nice tool. Please use it. Let's go and start creating read from service bus queue. That is a service bus queue trigger, folks. What? It is 140 Mbps speed and still. Ah, it is service bus queue trigger, and the function name is read from service bus queue, the same message, and the queue name. Again, the queue name should be the same. If not, what happened is last time when I was not feeling well technically on the day, so I I could not figure it out that I'm giving a wrong queue name, and it was not working. So we gave the correct queue name and click on create the function. It is creating the function. And let's come and first work on this one. Let me go and close this and read from queue. Keep this as a reference. So that will be input is already there, and this is a out container. Okay, see that is already there. Now we need to write it to the blob. So let's go and click on add, and this time we'll use Azure Blob Storage. That's the connection string, output blob, and then I will call it as SBQ, service bus queue output container. So whatever the message which is coming in the service bus queue, that will be here in this output container. So that's what we are adding the binding. Now you come and refresh this because we created that Azure function. So it would have read all the messages. The messages will be gone. Don't worry, we'll create more messages to this. Uh, okay, we'll create more messages to that. And I'll come in here to the code block and just let's check the function JS. And inside this function JS, you see that we have 18 lines code and output blob. The blob name we have given, this message is there. Now let's switch back to index.json, sorry, JS. And here in this index.js, it's pretty simple. Again, our good friend is the documentation here. You want to know about the blob, you can come to that blob storage and you want output. So your JavaScript, and here they are giving the binding. They're doing same thing, context.binding that output blob and whatever you want to assign. So we are doing context.bindings.output blob and context.binding.sb message. So whatever the message which we are receiving from the service bus queue, that we are writing it to the blob storage. Okay, so we have that one ready. So now what we can do is I'll keep this as it is and go back to here. Oh, we already have it, isn't it? In the Postman. Yep, we have it in the Postman. So I will just do another send. So you can come and open the logs. And let me send another message. You saw that whenever the messages are coming, it says that executed this function. So I'll send another message. So you see this? Because it's all queue triggered. So I can send multiple messages. I can send multiple messages. Each of the message, it will go and do it. You can come back and go to this blob container. And here we have SBQ output blob container. And you can see this, all these blobs are getting created for all the hits we are doing. And I told that I want to show you this one also. Let's refresh. I think it's going to take 5 minutes time. Let it take. But where is that? Update the components. No, it will do. It's going to, it will come, guys. Don't worry. It is, we are not going to leave it for sure. And now see this. I'm sending the messages and you watch the graph will change. So this is one of the way, if you're doing investigation, finding out what is happening, you can see that the live metrics, it shows that what are the incoming requests, what are the dependency calls, and everything will be here. What items it is reaching, everything you can go and do a, see this, you hit the write to SB, and what is this dependency calls, you can go track everything there, and you can do a transaction search here to go and check all the transactions which are happening. It's a very good, there were 22 requests, 613 traces, and 44 dependencies, right? And you can see this, the blob core, that means it is writing to the blob, that's what it is calling it out. We can see the telemetry and view the timeline. See this, how beautiful it is. It's coming right from the function app. It goes to the service bus queue. Then it's again, see this, this is a write to service bus queue. It's writing to the service bus queue. Once the service bus queue has been written, there is another function which we are reading it. You see this, read from service bus queue. It is picking up and it is writing. Now, I think we can go back and check the application map. There you go. See that? So there is one function, write to service bus queue is writing. There is a other Azure function is service bus queue triggered, which is reading from the service bus queue and dropping it to the Azure Blob Storage. Now you should become like a detective to find out coming into this one what is happening. This will definitely help you, isn't it? And also the transaction search. In the transaction search, when we went into the one of the dependency calls, when we went into the dependency calls, always use this, guys. See that it gives a nice hierarchy, what happened, where did it fail, and you can get to the bottom of this also to find out what has been written. I mean, we need to write, if needed, we need to write more of those logs, but at least it gives you a decent idea, like where it is failing, why it is failing, right? So that's the important point. So that we did two of the things in mini project 2. Let's quickly do the third one and jump to the triggered function. So the other one is read from blob. Now we will read it from the blob. So the full story I will tell you. Just give me a minute. Back over here, let me go back and create a new function now. This time we need to read it from the blob. Come on, come on, come on. Timer, Azure Blob triggered. And that's the name of this. And here, what did I use? I want to use the same thing just to be on the safer side. Okay. I will use this. I don't want to use that. I will use Azure Service Bus Queue, isn't it? SBQ out container. Okay. So this is SBQ out container. That's the name we have given to the previous one. I just want to ensure that SBQ out container, because it will not work if you don't give the proper values. SBQ out container, and I just create this function. So this is a blob triggered function. And see this, how easy it has become when we are using the Azure functions. Again, you guys need to do a feasibility study, performance test, and ensure that this is catering your needs before using a new technology, shiny technology. You need to ensure that it is catering our needs. Chalo. That being said, let me go to the output. I click on add output. And this time we need to write it to the Azure table storage. And the table name is SBQ out container table. Okay, that means actually technically it's a blob. BLOB blob out container, because that's where it is. We are reading it from blob and writing this one. So let's use the same name instead of what I used last night. It doesn't make sense for me. Chalo. Let's come back to this one. And we have the function is again, see this, it's pretty easy guys. The only thing is we need to have the partition key, proper partition key. So the one of the thing is when you I used this way to find out context dot binding because I didn't know it should be unique. I can use this kind of GUID but wanted to see that what is something which I can create it as a partition key. So there's something known as, I figured it out, this invocation ID. I'm using that one. So I did a JSON stringify context.binding data. So it gives everything. So we can see that. So I'm copying this and pasting it over here and just cool. That's connected. So let's see, did it create any tables? Because there are quite a few messages for sure. There are any messages? There are no messages. Let's drop one. Let's drop one message. So the message has come through this. You can see the traces here itself, how many requests have come, how many messages have come here. And that message has come. So once that message has come, there should be a blob SB out container. Did I think I gave wrong configuration for sure. Okay, I think I need to fix this. One second. Azure Blob Storage and SB out container. SB out container, that's there. Oh God, I did a mistake, spelling mistake. So SQB out container, did I use this? Service bus queue. I did a mistake. Service bus queue. SQB out container. Okay, this is correct. And Azure table storage. That's the table name. Okay, this is good. And let's check this code. Yes, that code is good. Let me try this. Ah, that's what. The specified container does not exist. Okay, that's fine. I think then our container, it should work. Because our container exists. Okay, so it has dequeued one message and it has written to SB out container. That message has been processed. So let's come and see the table. See that. That table has come. The previous two messages it has written. So now what do we understand with this entire end-to-end transaction? So let's go back to our dear friend. Application insights. So we have three Azure functions. The first one is write to service bus queue. It writes to the service bus queue. Its job is done. That is HTTP trigger. Second, we wrote the other Azure function, which was service bus trigger. So service bus trigger, whenever someone drops a message to the queue, that function gets triggered. It gets a message and it writes to the blob storage here. Okay. And we have a third Azure function, which reads whenever someone drops a message to the blob storage, it reads it and writes to the table storage. So pretty much you are seeing everything, the entire story, whatever we built in the mini project 2, whatever we built as part of the mini project 2, you are seeing in a nice graphical one. So read from SBQ, sorry, write to SBQ, read from SBQ, read from blob. everything we are seeing pretty much here. Okay, you can again dig deeper into that, who is doing what calls and everything in this one. That should be good enough. Chalo, let's quickly go and do it. We still have 11 to 12 minutes. Let's do the mini project 3, which is pretty interesting. So the mini project 3 is timer trigger. Now, how many times, I mean, this is also valid scenario. In HTTP calls, you want to write it. That's 100% valid scenario. Now, what if you want to automatically in the purchase order, in a e-commerce site kind of thing, you'll get orders every now and then. So that messages will be dropped in some queue and another worker processor will pick it up and put it to a payment processing queue, something like that. I'm building a story of that kind. So here we'll give timer message to Azure storage queue. Azure queue storage. It's not service bus queue. It is Azure queue storage. So let's go and build this and see how quickly we'll be able to build that. So let me go back to this and need an extra space. Jesus Christ. Where did we build that? Did we corrupt this? Oh, no problem. I want to check that. Why when it's a dynamic plan? This is also dynamic plan. That means it didn't create that. No problem. Better late than never. We'll create a func timer demo 00001. Okay, good. We have that. And let's select the Node.js and come on, come on, come on. East US hosting plan. This is the one which is going to change 15th December. And I'll change it to app service plan. Yes, it's mine. It's mine. Okay. Never mind. I'll create a function app, NFR, and func timer demo 001. Runtime stack is Node.js. And let's East US. And the hosting plan is here. And the hosting plan is app service. And okay, that's cool. No problem. Let's create a new one. It's not a big deal. Let me go and click on change. This will cost a little more. So I will go back to shade. It's 600 rupees per month. That should be fair enough for me. And do the networking, monitoring. And let me push everything to this. Right. Here the story is maybe in an e-commerce site or any IoT devices where the messages are flowing and that will be dropped either to the event hub or service bus queue or somewhere from where this Azure function is going and picking up. The story in our cases, we are building the story that we are getting a message, assuming that we are getting message from some source to this timer function and we are dropping it to the Azure queue storage. That's the story we are building, folks. Let me go back to this one. I need some extra space. Let's wait for a couple of minutes. It will, okay, I think it has already created it. It should appear. Okay, it has come. Perfect. So this is a timer function. Let's go here. And what is that we are calling it as? Timer message to Azure Queue Storage. It will be done in 10 minutes, folks. The entire mini project 3. Come on, come on. Okay. So we have seen multiple varieties of triggers. Now this time we are seeing the timer triggered. So we call it as we are calling it as timer message to this one. And there's a cron job. There's a cron expression. So I'm saying this space asterisk. So that means every 5 seconds. Okay, this was seconds, minutes. So I just scheduled it to every 5 seconds. So first we'll create this timer function and come back. And please ensure that before writing a single line of code, even though you are wasting 1 or 2 minutes, I would suggest strongly to wait here and see that this timer trigger Azure function works before we write any single line of code. So it see this, it automatically triggered. It fired at what? See that every 5 seconds it is triggering. So now that I know that okay, my as timer trigger function works, we are good now. So now let's come back to this one. I'll close mini project 2. Let me open the mini project 3 timer messages and let's understand. So every time you message, you're getting it. We are writing to ASQ, Azure Queue Storage, out queue. That's the queue name which we are uh, writing to. Chalo, let's come back to this integration again. And now we will see this real time messages, live metrics, because every 5 seconds it writes some messages to the queue. It will be pretty interesting, folks. Or I'm trying to make it interesting. I don't know. So Azure Queue Storage, and the queue name is, I'm calling it as Azure Queue Storage out queue, and I click on OK. And that's the binding is done. Let's come back to the code and just do a straight lift and shift from this index.json. What we are doing is the same thing. I just created a person object with a different date time and writing it to the same bindings.outputQueue.person, this object I'm writing, assuming that we are getting a message from some source, maybe IoT message or a payment message, whatever it is, we are dropping it to this queue. That's the story. So I am modifying this, and now let's see, is it dropping a message? Let's wait and see that. Okay, it dropped a message and another message and another message. That's good. So I think it's time for us to come here, and we're seeing that some messages are here. That's pretty cool. And let's go back to live metrics. And you can wait here and you can see that as and when the messages are coming in, you see this things will change. See that it already started. See the incoming request is going up and down. You see the sample telemetries, whatever is happening over here. So the committed memory you can see, and CPU exception rates are pretty much 0. And you see the requests per second because we are writing every 5 seconds. And you see this pretty much a lot of messages are done till now. See that dependency calls. That means wherever we are writing it to the queue, that's being, and the duration, it's less than 100 milliseconds. And you can come back to this application map. It's pretty much boom. It's a separate function. Actually, I could have written different Azure app functions with its own Azure apps. It would have been like this, but I mixed up everything like a khichdi in this. So it's writing to all these things, but we are able to understand what we are doing. So this is also another way to understand. I could have hit from here to this one. It's no harm, but technically we used it that way, whatever it is. That's being said, let's go back. Let this function go, and let's write another quick read from Azure Queue Storage. Let's do Rashmita, I'll be done in 5 minutes. That's the last one.
Sure,
Not,
sure. Sami,
yeah,
please take your time. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. This Azure Queue Storage. This is Azure Queue Storage. And let's come back. Why is this taking time today? And what is the queue name? That's the queue name, right? And just click on create. Let's go to the integration. And inside that integration, we are reading it from the queue and we are writing it to the blob, a separate blob. What kind of blob containers do we have? We have blob containers for service bus queue out container. This is the another container which we are writing. We are writing because this we are reading it from Azure Queue Storage. So we will call it as okay, it's a blob, and this I'm calling it as Azure Storage Queue Out Container rand GUID. So it creates a random GUID every time it receives. By this time, all the messages should have been gone from this, if I'm not wrong. Okay, still it is dropping the messages. That's good. Let's come back to the code and go grab this index.json. Any message we are getting, we are writing it to the blob. Just copy this, come back and drop it over here. And we can see that in 5 seconds, it should show at least a message saying that it has processed. Then we'll go and validate that in the blob storage. Not will not trigger. Folks, someone is okay. We let me come to this. Come back here. And let's ensure that our timer function is working. Okay, so that means it is working. So let me open this logs and ensure that it is writing to the queue. Okay, it is writing to the queue. That means let me refresh. Okay, it is item is there in the queue. Okay, that's there. So timer function works. And let's see read from Azure Storage Queue. I want to check that did I miss anything? Azure Storage Queue. Did I my queue item? And we are reading it from Azure Queue Storage. Azure Queue Storage out queue. Is that the name we have given? Perfect. That's the one. And we are writing it to the blob storage and ASQ out container. Do we see anything? Okay, there you go. It's writing this. See this? As and when the messages are coming, every 5 seconds we should see that. You see this as and when this scroll bar gets smaller and smaller, that means it is writing newer messages. I mean, there's other better method to identify. There are see this 19 items, 20 items. 21 items. So you can come back and check that. Here, I can refresh. You see that from here, it should write to the blob. There you go. So it's writing to the Azure queue and then writing to the blob. That's what I was mentioning. I could have split this 3 functions, into three different Azure function apps so that it shows clearly, but I didn't have that much time, so I just mixed everything in here. Here also there are two Azure functions. Technically, I could have done it. I mean, it all depends upon our architecture. What we want to do is, as long as we understand the flow. Okay, so we did two mini projects. I'll quickly recap. The mini project 2, the first Azure function was HTTP Azure function, which writes into the service bus queue. The second function was service bus queue trigger, which which reads the message from the service bus queue and writes it to the blob storage. And the third function was blob storage trigger. It reads from the blob storage and writes to the Azure table storage. And then that's what it's a function chaining, guys. You see that the output of one function is being picked up by the another Azure functions. In future episode, we'll work on the durable functions, but that's what we are doing here as of now. And the next mini project, what we do is timer function. This is what triggered maybe the HTTP triggered or the service bus or a blob or any kind of triggers we are doing. Now we thought of to do a timer function. Maybe every 5 seconds something happens. That's real time, isn't it? You don't know when you will get a payment message. So we did a timer function simulating that we are getting payment every 5 seconds and we are dropping that to a Azure queue storage. Actually, I could have done this Azure queue storage here and this into the service bus queue into this one, because that can take more number of high throughput is there. So never mind. We did net. Our experiment is the timer function drops message every 5 seconds. It drops a message to the Azure queue storage, and another function will read it and it drops it here. Let me do a refresh and see that it is 79 calls, and here it was 157 calls. You see that, guys? How many calls it is happening? You'll get a complete track, and also you can see the live metrics. And I've showed you transaction search. I've shown you the how you can dig deeper to find out the entire history, how it happens. Okay, so that's it from my side for this week. So hope you guys have learned something new. And any queries, folks? Any queries? Please go through all the previous videos. The next session will be, as I was mentioning, that will be on. Let me see the calendar. Let me see the calendar. It will be on web apps, deployment slots, web jobs, application insights. That will be on 12th Jan. And web apps scaling, that will be real fantastic thing on 19th Jan. So please block your calendar 12th Jan and 19th Jan. And whatever which we missed it, I will be doing in Soumya Rajesh. Durable functions and chaining functions are different. Yes, Soumya, those are different. We'll see that. Sir, what is the use of this mini project 2? I'm just simulating. I'm just showing mixing of this. We are learning different type of triggers and different types of output binding. We didn't do input binding, which we will do it in future, Ramakrishna. But as of now, we are learning it. And where do you apply? Again, it depends upon your project. So if you have a specific scenario where you have to go and write it to the blob or a Cosmos DB or something, there are a lot of output bindings are there. Like put it in the event bus or send an email using SendGrid, or a lot of things are there. So it depends upon what is your use case. Then you can go and do that. Okay. Anything else? Anything else, guys? Khaja Moinuddin, thanks. And Ramakrishna. Anyone else? Avi Tiwari, Sumit, Prasad. I don't know. I don't want to mispronounce your name because I don't know whether it is your first name or last name. Arju, nothing from Avi. Arjuman, Ashish, Kirtana, Prasad. Thank you, Kirtana. That's what I'm assuming your name. I think Avi is there. Ayush, Ranjit Reddy, Krishna, Hamir.
Hi, Sami. Actually, practicing this session, how much account credit we need for Azure? The free
Oh,
account is enough or
free account is more than enough. Who's this?
Krishna?
Krishna. Krishna, free account is more than enough, Krishna. You first what you do is you watch all these 8 videos.
Great,
Don't
great.
don't create the account immediately, because what will happen is the moment you create the account, uh, 30 days time, you'll have only 30 days time, and whether within this 30 days time you'll be able to spend 2 hours a day, I don't know. So ensure that uh, you're creating the account, the time will start triggered. So watch these 8 videos and then go and create an account. uh, Rashmit, I'll finish off in 4 minutes. Okay, we'll finish right now.
Sure,
Hey
sure,
guys,
sir.
yeah, Hamir, this is the place, Hamir. You'll have this playlist, whatever Rashmita was mentioning. That's the playlist. Just go and uh, check this playlist. Okay. So Krishna, first watch all these 8 videos and do it. Okay. If anyone doesn't have anything, we'll close it. Last 1 minute. Soumya, Kaja, Ranga, Krishna, you spoke. Sumit, I think you have nothing. Kirtana, Ayush, Ranjit Reddy, Krishna, Hamir,
One
Kaja.
question. One
Yes,
question.
Krishna, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes.
Melvin.
Can we use Azure functions in React application? Actually, currently we are going to migrate our ASPEC to React, our organization.
Uh,
So Azure functions and React, can we mix?
you can mix it, but ensure that you are having API management in between.
Okay.
Azure API management, because uh, we have to discuss about that. You can come back to the next meet. I'll give you my, or you can ping me on my Twitter, Vishy Pylor.
Sure.
We can speak on that. Okay, Melvin, Monica, uh, Priyank, Ramakrishna, you spoke, Ranga, Ranjita, Soumya, Sumit. I think nothing is there. Okay, guys. Hope you guys have enjoyed and learned something new in this session. So please stay safe. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and Happy Pongal. Let's see each other on 12th Jan again. Bye, folks. Thanks so much.
Thank you
Rasmita,
so
Bye bye,
much.
Swami. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Swami,
yep.
and thank you everybody for joining us today. Thank you.
Stay
Thank you
safe.
so much.